What goes up has come down, and you need to go and get it. Now your adventure really begins. Are you ready? Hey, JP here. Today we're going to talk about balloon recovery. The hardest part of your high altitude balloon operation, and I know you've already discovered this, is recovery. Anyone can let go of a balloon. Heck, I did it when I was 3 years old at Disneyland. The challenge is getting it back. There's lots of tools you use for recovery. 4-wheel drive vehicles, 8-wheel drive vehicles, electric fat tire bikes, and most often, good old boots. They all work, but the number one way to speed up your recovery has nothing to do with any of these. It's the approach. Specifically, it's how you begin. How you start getting your balloon platform back makes the difference between a 5-hour recovery and a 15-hour recovery. Between finding your vehicle and losing it. The difference between your team coming home safe and sound and someone getting hurt. This approach is something we've learned from over 200 balloon flights. Here it is. Don't chase the balloon, recover the balloon. Okay, that kind of sounds like the same thing, but it's not. There's a complete and total difference. A difference that can cost you time, money, and safety. And we're going to talk about that. And at the end, I have a balloon launch fashion tip for you. Okay, I get it. I've been there. You want to head out as soon as possible to get your vehicle back. You want to get it while it's still light. You want to get it before somebody else does. You're worried that in another hour, half your team is heading home. The pressure is on to get moving. Resist. I'm here to tell you there's a better way. The number one thing you can do to stop the chase and recover your balloon faster is to stop and have lunch. Say what? You think I'm kidding, right? Nope. Having the whole recovery team stop at the local restaurant for lunch will cut your recovery time in half. I'm serious. Of the dozens of reasons why this backwards idea is true, there are two big ones. First, the thing that gets dropped in the rush to get out there is the recovery packing list. You will forget stuff. You don't want to be at the end of a 6-hour 4-wheel drive club only to discover your directional beacon antenna is back at camp or in somebody else's car. If you've done it, raise your hand. The second thing that gets dropped is planning. Ask the tornado chasers. Only one road in 10 actually goes to where they need to go. Most of the drive is backtracking. That's what happens without a plan. But the tornado is moving, you say. Well, it's kind of like your balloon in flight. All during the lunch stop, you will be at the map, looking at roads, checking for Jeep trails on Google Earth. You will be worrying, did I remember this? Did I remember that? Everyone will be making notes on napkins about what they need that's not on the packing list, about the length of Jeep trails. They can't help it. And you know what it's going to do? It's going to change the nature of your recovery operation. The shocking truth is chasing takes longer. Stopping to organize leads to faster recoveries every single time. That's what you're really doing by stopping for lunch. You're creating a moment to plan. If you already have a plan, you're making sure it matches the reality of the day and that you're getting the plan implemented. You know that old expression, no plan survives contact with the enemy? Well, This is your chance to fix that. Now, don't say to your team, you need a break and just want to sit a minute. They just launched a balloon and they want to dash out and go get it. Everyone still has that launch adrenaline in them. The reaction you're going to get is, are you out of your mind? Let's get a move on. Instead, say this: we need a plan. Let's stop and look at the roads and find the fastest way to get there. And let's make sure that everyone has enough gas to get back. This will cut to the heart of it, and everyone will get it. Plus, everyone secretly will appreciate the breather, no matter how gung-ho they are. Launch adrenaline does not help on recovery. Let it fade away. No one wants to run out without a plan. You don't either. But it happens all the time. Don't let it happen to you. Write the plan down, even if it's just bullet points on the napkin next to the ketchup. It's amazing how that one simple act can point out flaws or clarify a plan. Keep everything short and simple, and tip the waitstaff at the restaurant double. You'll be back, and you want them to take care of you. The recovery operation is the hardest part, and it happens when you're the most tired and the least sharp. Account for that. Stop, breathe, plan, then go. We are not geniuses. It was not a brilliant insight. We stumbled upon it. The team had just completed launching. The ground crew was tearing down the site while the recovery teams were packing up. It was a hard, windy morning, and we launched 6 heavy, complicated vehicles. Everyone was exhausted. Not the ideal condition for heading off into the high Sierra to chase balloons. We had to take a break, and against what we thought was our better judgment, we drugged the dusty and tired team into the local restaurant to recover before recovery. Besides giving us a chance to plan, one of the vehicles didn't land where we originally thought it did. We only had the Latin long and no altitude. It didn't land on the mountain where the last transmission came from. It landed 2 miles further downrange in the valley in a radio shadow. The new fix came in while we were eating, and we had a chance to really compare the physical map with the Google Earth map and our local knowledge of the area. We ended up finding an easier approach that cut hours out of the trip. It was a big recovery, 6 vehicles spread over 20 miles. In spite of all that, everyone on the team said it was the best recovery op they had ever been on. We were sold. That lunch, that break in the action to breathe, eat, and think was the key. Your plan should always include a physical map with the landing coordinates physically marked on it. Put the X on the map. And don't just rely on your phone or laptop. Have an agreed upon cutoff time. Write it down and stick to it. If you're in the backcountry, don't forget you need to get out too. We've spent way too much time navigating jeep trails in the dark. Don't make our mistake. Build recovery team recovery into your balloon recovery plan. Brief your team on not rushing or speeding. In the over 40 years of operations, we've had only one major accident, and it was a car crash during recovery. And if you have more than one car on recovery, have them stay together. The moment they separate, everybody wants to race the other team to the balloon. It always leads to mistakes and sometimes accidents. Another cautionary note: when you stop for lunch, don't let it become a chat session. After launch, everyone is excited to share what's happened. Don't let the 40-minute lunch and planning stop become a 2-hour wind down. You have a vehicle to recover after all. Cultivating a sense of urgency at the same time methodically and deliberately planning is a skill well worth developing. Extra tip for the day. Put an extra set of batteries for your GPS in your front pocket. Not in your backpack, not in the glove box of the Jeep, in your front pocket. It may save your life one day. By putting a lunch stop in your recovery, you will exchange the adrenaline of the chase with the satisfaction of a well-executed plan. You will recover your balloons easier, safer, and yes, faster. Recovery operations can be the most exciting and rewarding part of the balloon operation, and you will have moments you will remember for the rest of your life. But it can also get you killed. So don't chase, recover. You can take the lunch planning break to the next extreme. Consider next day recovery. You will worry, you will fret all night long about someone else finding it. But after you've done it once, after you've had a chance to find that way around on Google Earth and not have to climb that ridge after all, after you are hiking fresh in the morning, not worrying about running out of daylight, and in our case, hiking in the cool morning instead of the 110-degree afternoon desert heat, you will absolutely kick yourself for not doing next day recovery sooner. As promised, here's a fashion tip for your balloon launch morning. I wear baseball batting gloves for balloon launches. Launch mornings can be cold. You'll end up wearing thick gloves that you're constantly putting on and taking off to handle your equipment and electronics. Baseball gloves are a great compromise. They're a lot warmer than nothing, and you can actually set the frequency on your radio while wearing them. I also wear them on recovery. They protect my hand from the scrub brushes and sharp rocks while still letting me work a GPS. A pair of them tends to get me through 3 flight seasons. If you like the video, subscribe to our channel for more, and be sure to check out our Patreon site. The link is in the description below. Fly high and be safe out there. I'm JP. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you at the edge of space. JP Aerospace, America's other space program.